Let's make the idle animation now. We don't need the grease pencil anymore, and we'll start with this pose. Let's go to our dope sheet in the action editor. Middle mouse wheel, drag the header over, make a fake user for the punch action, then let's duplicate it. The new action, this will be our new action, idle action. Deselect everything. Let's select these keyframes and delete them. Let's go back to frame 1. Set this to a 3D view again. And this will be a very subtle motion. We'll have his hips over here on the left as his weight's on his right foot then. And then we'll go up 10 frames with shift up arrow. We'll move this over to the right so his weight's more on his right foot or his left foot. And then let's go back to frame 1, copy, and then go up twice, shift up arrow, so we're on frame 21, paste, so we're back at the beginning. Let's hit E, Alt A, so he's going back and forth. Now let's go right in the middle and move his hips up. Then Control C, copy the pose for that. And we'll jump up to 10 frames and paste. Alt A. Well, that looks good. Now, one more thing. When he's over here with his weight on his left leg, I would like to rotate his heel. I'd like to lift his left heel up just a small amount. And then in the middle, let's clear that rotation. Let's make sure that keyframe's stuck. Okay. And I'd like to lift his right heel up a small amount. Now, let's grab both of these bones, copy their position, go to the end, and paste. Alt A. There you go. It looks like a little bit more of weight transferring. That's great. Let's save it. Let's say you want to test the animations now. Sure, you can do Alt A and have it run and then switch to another animation and try that. Or you could render them all out to sprites and whatever game engine you're using them in, and then run it and test it. But there's an easier way to quickly test multiple animations interactively in Blender, and that's with the game engine. So let's come up here and go to our game logic screen. And let's look at this guy from the side and select the armature. Let's switch to object mode. And then we'll close our properties panel to give us some more room. And I'm going to go ahead and join this. What we'll do is we'll add a sensor. The first one we'll add is going to be the always sensor. And this is not going to be a full in. This is how you do the game engine. I'm just going to show you how to set up something simple to preview some actions. So it's divided into sensors, controllers, and actuators. And for the controllers, we're going to keep it simple for each one. We're just going to use the AND controller. The sensor, it's going to be, this is going on always, so a good one for that would be our idle action. I'll go ahead and call this idle. And we're going to select loop stop, and then we're going to select idle action. It'll tell it what frames to play from that action. We want frames 1 to 20. And then we just mouse over the 3D window and hit P to play. So he's moving kind of slow, and he's kind of in black and white. So let's do two things. Let's do Alt-Z so we can see his costume. And then let's get rid of those wires. So switch over to our Properties window, Object, turn off the drawing of all edges and the wires. And also, for the game engine, it's going to run a lot faster if we don't have the subdivision surfaces on. So now let's hit play. And there he's doing his idle motion. That's cool. The lighting's kind of bad, so we can maybe make it a little better. Something that looks cool. Probably too much light in the scene. But now the really neat part is adding another sensor. This time we'll add a keyboard sensor. And let's say we use the W key. Another AND controller. Pick that up. And it happens to be 20 frames also. Let's connect this up. And I'll show you something that we'll have to change. When I press W, it runs, but it kind of stops. So I'll hit escape. The problem is the priority of these two actions going on at the same time. So what I want to do is, if you look under priority, lower numbers will override higher numbers. So lower priorities is better. So let's just raise this up a tick to 1. So now the running has a higher priority. And then, even cooler, we should probably name these. This is idle. Oops. Idle. Run. Run. We'll add another keyboard sensor. In this one, we're not going to click here, so it's not going to continuously sending a signal. It's only going to send it to 1 when we hit spacebar. So click this, hit your spacebar. It's an AND controller, not 2. Add our action. And we only want, well, actually let's go ahead and do loop stop again. Say punch action, and the punch is 1 to 11. Hit play. So he's running, he stops, punch. Okay. So it's kind of neat. You notice when he goes from idle right to running, what we can do is say that when we want to go from one pose to another, we can decide how many frames, you know, it blends to into this mode, into this pose. I'm just middle mouse wheel clicking to scroll down here. So let's say this, you know, 3 to blend into that one, for example. So when I hit play and then I go to run, it's a little bit more natural. The loop stop means that it'll stop right in the middle of a loop before switching to the next action. That way you can see where, like when I'm punching, I can stop or switch immediately into something, into one of the other poses. If you want it to play to the end of an animation, you do loop end. But it's pretty cool. So now I can be watching and say, oh, that looks neat. Or maybe I want to see it with perspective on. Well, that looks cool. Bam, bam. Running. And, or from a different point of view. Maybe your game is really going to be like some sort of first person. So hit play. So now he's running. He's punching. Idle. This might look better with perspective on. His fist gets nice and big when it comes towards the camera. I like that. So now, one of the cool things about using this is to see the play between the different motions and stuff, is while I've been watching this, I realized that probably should have spent a little bit more time on the run action. So we'll do that next. We'll just touch up the run action. Let's do File, Save As. I really think that this is what makes Blender such a good creative tool, is how you can do things iteratively and interactively. To do things like, you know, coming back and adjusting the run here, or, you know, adjusting the mesh or the UV. And as you work through the creative process, this idle action should have a fake user. And let's switch over to the run. Here I think his heel should be close to the ground, and we can bring back our subdivision surface now. Switch into pose mode. I think the problem was that I didn't hide the armature when I was testing the run. I should have. Oh, we also don't want to see that last keyframe. There we go. So his foot, it seems like, should be, his heel should be close to the ground. He's running fast, he's running on the balls of his feet, but it should still be a little closer. So I'm going to do a copy, come to the end, paste, and then come to the middle and do a paste flipped, Control Shift V. And then when he hits down, I think his hip should be, he should maybe hit a little more so that his running has a slight bouncing. When you're running fast, I don't think you have a very high up and down, but again, we're doing this for looks. Make it look right. So let's, that's better. It'd be nice also to have, when he's in this extreme position, if he twisted a little bit. I want to bring the widget back for that. So twist. He's throwing his arm that way. And I'll copy that, jump to this frame, paste flipped. That looks good. Now his head is going back and forth, I think, too much. So let's, you know, a little bit's okay, I think, because he's not a machine. Let's copy that, paste flipped. And I think it'd be nice if his shoulders were back some. So when he's in this pose, you just move the shoulder back a little. This one front. And bring his arms out. Let's select these bones that we just moved. Copy. Jump over here. Paste flipped. Let's look at it. Alt-A. Let's hide this and this. I think that looks better.